what is the kind of dancing that really turns you on? What kind of dancing turns me on? What's the kind of work that is interesting me? Well, for many years it's been, I would say, very physical. I like to use muscle, I like to use movement that goes, that explodes. And at the same time, I like movement that is very subtle. I like to see a lot of details, using different aspects, different parts of the body, very detailed parts of the body, like maybe rotations of the ankles and the knees and the hips. And I like to have to use even hands, even fingers, involved in directing the energy, involved in directing the movement, initiating the movement. I like to use to have the place of initiation in movement, in phrases, in choreography, occur from many different parts of the body. That's one of the things that I do a lot of, and I'm very interested in that. I like to go outside of academic forms as much as possible, although it's very pleasurable when in the middle of movement, in the middle of a phrase or a figure of movement, a flow of movement, we pass through some standardized positions. It's like we kind of go through them and resolve into another thing. That gives me a great deal of pleasure. I don't like to begin in an academic position and finish in an academic position, but it gives a lot of pleasure to revisit those positions whilst flying or whilst rolling or kind of suspended in air. That's for sure. I like very much to work on the floor. I like very much to go in and out of the floor. The floor is just a great place to work, and a great thing. It's really, really good for training the body. Very good for training the mind and our spatial senses. I like very much when dance doesn't have a top or a bottom. I like very much to change the body in the space, so that sometimes the body is upside down. I like to do acrobatic stuff, and to going in and out of the floor and turning myself upside down and inside out, and the people who work with me, it kind of disorients space. It kind of creates a beyond three-dimensional space. Well, that's not actually true, but mentally it is, because one gets completely disoriented. Can be completely disoriented. But the more and more we do that kind of work, the more and more we get oriented in the space all the time. We know where we are. And that's a great pleasure to have yourself turned inside and out, fast in a knot, upside down, rolling, jumping, with the perspective in the eyes really moved all over the place. And yet still being able to retain a sense of where you are in the space. That's a great pleasure. And it's also pretty exciting to watch on stage as well. The other thing, I guess, well, there's a lot of things, but maybe the other thing that interests me very much is qualities of in the realm of attack to suspension. There's a whole range of ways of moving with slow muscle fibers, the fast muscle fibers, or the acceleration and riding the wave of a movement in a kind of suspension, and releasing parts of the body that are simply not necessary to have tonic at that moment. But that they are ready to restart their help in their activity when the movement resolves itself, and momentum and the reality of arriving on the ground again or having to catch one's balance causes everything to start working again and pulling the machine back into a completely whole being. because it's very interesting to me as well to move as an entire being, like an animal, with all parts of the body and mind and cells actively involved in the movement. And it's also very pleasing to be able to disassociate and to cut from that continuum and to have certain things working individually and separately, and then to make the connections again. So create the connections through the body, disassociate by choice, and then reconnect. Is all very interesting stuff. Well, that's a few of the things that are interesting me, and maybe in 2 weeks when I do this interview again, I'll have another subject that might be more interesting still. Okay, well, thank you for listening.